Another lawsuit for Disney. This one over something which I would imagine is probably near and dear to a lot of people's hearts, quite frankly. And yeah, sorry, this is a bit of a Disney heavy day. I can't say much about that. I mean, they are the biggest studio, so there really isn't much news elsewhere, quite frankly. And this is fascinating because basically Disney is facing a lawsuit to do with General Hospital show having a vaccine mandate. Now, obviously, that's near and dear to a lot of people's hearts, I think. Pun sort of intended. So basically, it's a vaccine mandate discrimination lawsuit, and it's been ordered to trial. So this could go pretty huge. This is one in a long list of Disney stuff. Long list of lawsuits. So let's take a look. Hit subscribe if you're new, folks. Turn the bell notifications on. Stay up to date on the world of pop culture, movie news, and movie reviews. We will be watching Dune Part 2 this weekend and bringing you my review. Still need to catch up on Avatar as well and do a review of that. But anyway, let's take a look. So, yeah, this is one of many legal troubles for Disney. But a Los Angeles judge has now ordered that a discrimination and wrongful termination lawsuit filed against their broadcast television network ABC, so Disney, ABC, ABC, Disney, and more specifically its enforcement of the Rona 19 VM, I've got to be careful what I say, by two former General Hospital crew members must officially go to trial. That's pretty big. That is pretty big. So first filed in June of 2022, which took bloody ages, the father-son duo James and Timothy James Wall. The lawsuit alleges that after working on the long-running soap opera for 14 and 10 years respectively, the pair were unceremoniously fired in 2021 after refusing to comply with the network's aforementioned mandate based on their religious beliefs. So plaintiffs requested a religious exemption to the COVID vaccine mandate. Although ABC said it would grant exemptions for sincerely held religious objections to the Rona shots, it refused to accept plaintiffs' request. It denied their request without explanation, and then 1 week after, they requested them. So these actions were unlawful. ABC does not have the authority to force a medical treatment on its employees against their will. Even if it did, it must offer religious exemptions to anybody who requests one. It also cannot discriminate among religions, and it cannot second-guess the sincerity of one's religious beliefs without an objective basis for doing so. It did not have one here, and ABC's actions constitute religious discrimination and violate plaintiffs' rights under state law. But a bit difficult to argue with that, really. It's like in the UK, there was exemptions, like medical exemptions, I guess. It was just, you don't have to wear a mask, for instance, for medical exemptions. And no one has the right to be like, well, you don't look like you've got a medical reason. You can't do that. There are lots of hidden medical things. You can't discriminate against people just because. It's nonsense. I swear people got drunk on power with all of this. It really became utter insanity. It really did. So, suing the Disney-owned subsidiary on the grounds that they violated the plaintiff's right to privacy and the California Fair Employment and Housing Act, specifically the clauses which forbid the firing of an individual because of a conflict between the person's religious belief or observance, because of their disability, a label under which the pair categorise their unvaccinated status, or in service of any sort of a retaliation, as well as the state's general protections against wrongful termination. So the Walls are ultimately seeking relief by way of compensatory damages, punitive damages, a covering of their attorney fees, and a declaration that by the courts that the network mandates are unconstitutional. It will be I think it will be difficult for the court not to grant that. I could be wrong, but I mean, it is unconstitutional. It is discrimination. That's a difficult one to argue with. So although ABC justified their decision on the grounds that they were unable to conclude that you are prevented from receiving the Rona vaccine due to a sincerely held religious belief, practice or observance, but yeah, you can't say that. And that's why the LA judge, Superior Court Judge Stephen Gurvich, has rejected the argument and chosen to hand the matter off to a jury of the Wiles peers. So it said this, because the fact it's going to jury trial is insane. Because this necessarily involves a credibility determination, it is difficult to grant summary adjudication of this issue, asserted Judge Gorvich in a February 20th order. While defendants' counsel identifies seeming inconsistencies, plaintiffs raise sufficient facts to give rise to a triable issue. These, their explanations of their religious beliefs. The jury, not the judge, should determine whether plaintiffs were genuine in their beliefs, given the disputed facts and the necessity of making credibility determinations. I reckon this would go in their favour. However, despite Judge ruling in Wiles' overall favour, it should be noted that he did acquiesce to Disney's request to dismiss the plaintiff's charge that the network's decision had invaded their privacy. How has it not invaded their privacy? If you've then got to, if someone questions you on things like that, you've then got to show evidence to the contrary because they discriminate against you. I mean, that is an invasion of privacy. So anyway, commenting on the developmental deadline, the Wiles attorney Scott Street declared, as many people move beyond the pandemic, this ruling should serve as a reminder of the thousands of people who lost their careers because they asserted their right and stood up to their employers' efforts to make them violate their conscience. The pandemic won't be over until every corporation that violated its employees' rights has been held accountable, said Street, who notably also represented General Hospital star Ingo Rademacher in his own and eventually unsuccessful anti-vaccine mandate lawsuit. We look forward to presenting this case to a jury soon. I mean, I get it. I get saying that, you know, a place can be like, hey, you know, there's a new thing. You got to, you know, have a vaccine for this if you want to work here. I understand that. I don't agree with it, but I understand. I mean, if there was like a new, I don't know, for instance, there was an actual contagious and deadly virus floating around. I don't know. I understand on principle, but I don't understand how you can then dodge around discrimination, right? Like that's how can you dodge around that? It just seems so cut and dry to me. These kind of things, like if I say, well, like, you know, I'm religiously or disabled, whatever, you can't. It's just such a double standard. It's such a double standard. But normally, if you play their rules against them, you can win. So going down the sort of road of discrimination, etc., I think that they could be quite successful with this. But look, I don't know. I'm no lawyer, obviously. I hope that they win for sure, because that would be good. That would be justice. And we need some more justice with respect to things like that, because it was just, yeah, insane. Anyway, I don't want to get into it too much. But let me know what you think down below. Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye-bye now.